Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webinar by the Anglo. We're really excited to have you here for this one today. As you know, it is exploiting online dictionaries, and we're going to be with Mario Velasquez, and he's going to teach us how in this webinar you will identify how the best online learner dictionaries provide a variety of information, such as word classes, verb forms, pronunciation, lexical collocations, dependent prepositions, idioms, and more. And if you don't know what those are, don't worry. Mario is here to help you. And just to give you a little bit more information about Mario, he is the initial training coordinator at the Anglo Institute of Education. He specializes in phonology and teacher education, and he has taught English for some 20 years in a wide variety of contexts. He has been awarded Delta and an MA in TESOL from the UK, and he is currently preparing his PhD proposal on classroom discourse. We're super excited to have Mario with us today. Mario, take it away.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited to be talking about this topic. I love dictionaries. I've had dictionaries since I was a child. I've had dozens of dictionaries. As a language learner, I'm aware of just how useful dictionaries can be. So, of course, nowadays we normally use online dictionaries more than paper dictionaries. So, well, which dictionary do we use? Is there, are some dictionaries better than others? So let's have a look at these questions here. So what dictionaries do you use now? Maybe you could share some of your ideas in the chat. You can tell us about the dictionaries that you use.
Gabriela says Oxford Dictionary.
Oh, there you go. Any others?
Gerardo says Longman, Macmillan, Collins, Oxford. Ivan prefers Longman. So a big variety I'm seeing here.
Yeah. Well, all those dictionaries you mentioned are very good. I've used them all and I like them all. So now I'm curious, what do you use them for? We have three basic options there, A, B, C. You can type the letter in the chat or D if you use them for something else. You can also specify what other use you have for them. So if you could please just share with us your ideas in the chat.
Okay, Gerardo says he follows the lexical approach. Gerardo, you're an informed learner, I can see. We've got some other dictionaries here, word reference. Very nice. Also, Merriam-Webster is mentioned.
All right, very good. So the free dictionary, yes, of course. So there's a great variety, right? Great variety. All right, well, let's have a look at one of the dictionaries that you've already mentioned. Okay, so this is the Cambridge Dictionary, one of the dictionaries you mentioned. Now, I wanted to compare different dictionaries because I wanted to find out which dictionary is right for me, right? So I came up with a list of 12 different things that you can find in a dictionary. Now, that's not a complete list, obviously. I mean, you can find many more things. We wouldn't have time to have a look at all of them today. So let's have a look at some of the different kinds of information that I've chosen that different kinds of learners may be interested in. So, well, we have the search box here. Let's look for a word, a common word like dog, right? So does the dictionary tell me how important or how common this word is? Well, if you can see here, right, if you can see my cursor, you can see that it says A1 here, right? So you have the word dog. It tells us that that's a countable noun, all right? And then it says A1 here, right? Oh, okay. So that's, if you're familiar with the Common European Framework of Reference, you know that A1 is the first level, right? So the fact that they're telling me that this is an A1 word means that, well, this is a very basic word, very common word. Um, uh, Likewise, instead of A1 for other words, it'll be A2, B1, B2, C1. That'll give me an idea of just how common a word is. So, well, okay, that's the way this dictionary does it. Another thing I was looking for was collocations. So if you, let's say, let's look up traffic, the noun. Okay, so again, we have the head word, we have some information about it. I begin scrolling down and look, heavy, there was heavy traffic on the roads. All right, so heavy is a word, an adjective, that I can use with traffic. We know that this is a common word that goes with traffic, right? So, all right, this dictionary helps me find words that I can use with other words, what we sometimes call collocations, right? How does a dictionary give me that information? By writing the word in bold. So I know that that's an important word to pay attention to. All right, that's good. Let's look for another word, cat. Now, I wonder, are there any expressions of the kind that we call idioms that use the word cat? Let's see, if I start scrolling down, well, okay, I find again the level, the definition. I find a picture of a car, okay. I find examples. Oh, look, yes, I have a box with idioms. To be the cat's whiskers. All right. So this dictionary makes it very easy for me to find idioms that have the word I'm looking for because there's a box for that. All right, that's good. Let's look for something else. Let's say phrasal verbs, right? So I look up hang. Do I have phrasal verbs with this? Let's see, I scroll down. Um, Hang the verb, examples, idioms. Oh, look, phrasal verbs. There you go. So this dictionary also makes it easy to find phrasal verbs because it's got this special section for it. All right. Now let's have a look at pronunciation. Um, let's look at this preposition of. All right, so it tells me that it has this strong form of, and it has this icon, right, of the speaker. So if I click on it, I can listen to someone saying the word of. And since we don't normally say of, the dictionary is also giving us the weak form, right? So, oh, look, it's of. So strong form of, weak form of, sorry, of. Well, okay, that's good. But all right, we don't normally say of in isolation, right? So does the dictionary give me like the pronunciation not just of the word, but maybe a complete sentence, or to listen to the word in context? Well, I have phrases or sentences here in the examples, but I can't listen to them. So it gives me pronunciation, but it doesn't give me the pronunciation of the word in context. That'd be super. Now, another thing I was wondering, okay, do we have more dictionaries on this website? Well, you see these three dots here on the right. If I click on them, you can see that, oh yeah, I have bilingual dictionaries here, right? English, Learner's Dictionary, Essential British, Essential American. Fantastic. So those are some of the things that this dictionary uh, can the things that we can find in this dictionary. So let's see if we remember some of them. Okay, this is the Cambridge Dictionary we just had a look at, and I have these 6 columns, right? Word level, collocations, idiom, phrasal verbs. So do you remember which ones we can find? You can use them there. You can type in the chat, please. For example, for other dictionaries, what kinds of dictionaries, idioms, phrasal verbs, do we find that? How do we find that? Do we find pronunciation in context? And if you don't quite remember, you can always have a look at it yourselves, right? So I'm posting the link to that dictionary there in the chat.
Excellent. Mario, just show your screen again so they can see that chart.
Yes, sure.
Okay. Great, great.
Just give me a second.
Sure. But I think that Arcelia is going to remember at least one of them. She was talking about phrasal verbs here. And Gabriela was mentioning idioms. So I think we might have a couple of answers that will pop up in the chat. So just type which ones you remember. It does take 1 second, Mario, because there's a little bit of a lag sometimes.
Right.
So we'll be patient here.
Of course.
But again, as Mario said, if you need to go back and check out that link, there it is. Okay. Andrea says collocations, idioms, and phrasal verbs.
Exactly. And if you can also write how we find collocations. Oh, in bold. How do we find idioms and phrasal verbs? Well, in this case, in boxes, right? In special boxes for that.
Okay, Maria Luisa is having trouble opening the link. If you just Google it, Maria Luisa, just Google a Cambridge Dictionary. I'm sure it will pop up. Yep.
Exactly, that's right. These are very easy to find. You just Google Cambridge Dictionary, that's it. You'll find it very quickly. All right, so let me show you the answers, shall I? Here we go. So do we have the CFR? Yes. Collocations, yes. Idioms, phrasal verbs, pronunciation, not that. Other dictionaries, yes, we do. All right. Now let's have a look at some of the things that you can find. So can we find these kinds of things in the dictionary? Well, let's have a look, shall we? So let's see. Grammar. Well, yes, I remember. If you click, these 3 dots, if you click there, oh, you find this grammar here. So can I just look up things like present? Oh, look, present perfect. Yes, here it is. There you go. You see? So how cool is this website? So this is a dictionary, but it also has a grammar book. So no need to look for a different website. This one has all on it. Very good. Now let's go back to our dictionary. Let's see. If I look for a verb, for example, like, do we say I like to do something, or I like doing something, or I like, how do we use this verb? So I look it up. Oh, look, here in brackets, can you see here how in square brackets, it's telling us that we use the verb like plus ing, as in I don't like upsetting people. And we also use like plus infinitive, as in he likes to spend his evenings. All right, there you go. So yes, verb patterns. Yes, we get verb patterns. Now, let's have a look at different verb forms. So for example, if I look for an irregular verb like swim, okay, yes. So the dictionary tells me, it gives me the past tense and the past participle. All right, so well, I know how to spell them now. Now, what about the pronunciation? Well, we have the pronunciation of the verb swim, but we don't get the pronunciation of the past or past participle. So that'd be good, right? Because, well, okay, in this case, maybe we know it's swam and swam, but what happens if we're not sure how to pronounce the past participle? I mean, maybe we could look it up, but it'd be great if the dictionary just told us that right there, right? Now, this is an irregular verb. What happens if I look for a regular verb, like walk? Well, we have, okay, the word walk, but no. I mean, we know that regular verbs, well, I just need to add an ed, but, well, I know that the dictionary is not telling me. And how do you pronounce that ed? Well, there's a very simple rule for that, but if you're not sure about it, well, the dictionary doesn't tell you. So I think it'd be great if they did. Now, let's see, what else? I was thinking about the syllables in a word. So if I look up a word with many syllables, does it show me how many syllables it has? Let's see. Well, not in the spelling, but if you look at the pronunciation, you can see this dot here in the middle. Oh, that's syllable division. So it's complication. All right. So, well, in that way, if for any reason you're interested in how to divide a word into syllables, well, this dictionary tells you how, at least in the pronunciation. Now, let's look for another thing. What about the origin? I mean, if for any reason you're interested in the origin of a word, the etymology, does it tell you that? Let's see, we scroll down the page. Sometimes you need to look at everything to find what you're looking for. Yeah, not particularly easy to find, right? Oh, well, yeah, no, not particularly easy to find. So it may be buried somewhere, but yeah, if you're looking for that information, this dictionary is not going to make it easy for you. Now, okay, those are things that you can find. Is there anything else that you find attractive about this dictionary? Anything else? In my case, I found this here at the bottom. It says contents, and look, it has this section for learn. That looks attractive. If I click on it, learn. Oh, look, I can learn, for example, about phonetics because, well, the dictionary shows you those strange symbols, right? So you have those strange symbols right here. All right, so it gives you a guide to phonetics. So that's a little extra that you may find useful, right? So lots of things we can find. Now, again, let's see if we remember. So, do you remember about these, which ones you can find or how? Maybe in the column for other, you can tell us what you found on that dictionary that you think might be useful.
So just go ahead and type them in the chat box there. Okay, let us know what you remember about Cambridge Dictionary. So remember, does it help us with the grammar, the verb patterns, the etymology, the syllables? What can we find? Okay, Gerardo says grammar, syllables, patterns. Andrea says all of them but etymology. TESOL remembers that you can see the syllables.
Right.
Gerardo also says the verb forms. So Some good memories here, right, Mario?
Oh, yes. Yes, yeah, absolutely. So there you go. True. So it is important for you to decide, okay, what else do I find useful, right? Because we'll may be looking for different things. Okay, now let's do one more dictionary, but this time you'll be doing the search. So Longman. Again, you could just type Longman dictionary and you find it very easily on Google. And so go to the dictionary and see if you can find all those different kinds of information. So for example, does that dictionary give you information about the level, the importance, how common a word is? Does it give you any information about collocations or idioms? If it has idioms, do they give you like the idioms in a box? Does it have this pronunciation in context that we couldn't find in Cambridge? Does the website offer different dictionaries like Cambridge does?
Okay, Gerardo, I'm having trouble with your name, but he's saying word level, collocations, idioms, phrasal verbs, pronunciation, and the examples contain pronunciation.
Oh, so you can listen to the complete example?
And he's also saying other dictionaries. We'll see if he responds. He says yes.
Wow. Well, that sounds really cool.
He also says that the examples contain audio files.
Oh, there you go. So you can listen to words like but instead of just which we don't normally say, well, you listen to the whole example, right? So that's brilliant. And what about the word level? Does it tell you whether the word is A1, A2, or does it have a different way of telling you how common or important a word is?
That's a great question, Mario. Remind me, how did we see that in the Cambridge Dictionary before?
Right. So in Cambridge, it says A1. So
Okay.
we know it's a basic word.
Mm-hmm. So they could look for something like that if it says A1, A2
Mm-hmm.
for a
Mm-hmm.
dictionary or for a word entry.
Right. We're right. Any word really, and see
How
what they can find.
Cecil says no, but it tells you how frequent the word is used.
Okay, there you go. So different dictionaries have different ways of giving roughly the same kind of information. You just need to become familiar with it, right? So in the case of Longman, they have these three dots, right? Tell you, oh yes, it's very frequent, or not, right? Okay, now let's have a look at the other things that we were looking for. Uh, well, we have a complete grammar book on Cambridge, on the Cambridge Dictionary. Do we have a grammar? Does this dictionary give you any information about grammar? Does it give you information about verb patterns or, the past and past participle of verbs?
Mario, while they're looking for it,
Mm-hmm.
Gerardo had a question
Yes.
about the difference between the frequency and the CEFR level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Can you explain that really quickly for Gerardo?
Of course. We could say that even though they're not technically the same thing, you can see how they're closely linked, right? So if a word is very, very common, well, that normally means that the word is very useful. It's a word that you need in your everyday life. That would mean that it's a word that you would normally learn in A1 or A2. If a word is very uncommon, well, there's no way you should be learning that in A1, or that you'll find that word in an A1 book, right? So even though in theory it's not the same thing. In practice, well, yes, the more common is the more common a word is, the more well the sooner you learn it when you're studying a language. Basically, if you look up a word in the dictionary that you don't know, so well, you look it up in the dictionary, and the dictionary tells you it's very frequent. This is a high frequency word. It would be wise to learn it because the dictionary is telling you, oh, this is very common. Okay, so that would be time well spent, right? Learning this word. So I All right. So, and again, if you find something else in this dictionary that's not here in the list, for the last column, other, please share it with us in the chat. Is there something else? They say, well, in my case, I'm not interested in etymology, but I found this thing that I find very useful.
Fernando says he found the he can't find like a grammar book or a grammar section
Ah,
for the Longman Dictionary. But
uh-huh.
Gerardo says that he found your explanation very, very helpful.
Good.
Yes, and Maria Luisa wants to know if you have a recommendation for a dictionary that's a little bit more suitable for a younger student.
Right. Well, the dictionaries, I mean, both, all the dictionaries that you mentioned at the beginning, let's say Cambridge, Oxford, Longman, Macmillan, those dictionaries are for, they're designed for language learners. So even though they're not specific for children, these are dictionaries that children can use. I think they're very user friendly. Now, of course, when talking about very young children, well, maybe not. Um, and I can't think right off the top of my head a dictionary for learners that you can find on the internet. If anybody has any suggestions, please do share. Um, how young is the child?
It's a great question. While we're waiting for the response,
Mm-hmm.
many apps I know, for example, like Mayan and the
Mm-hmm.
Anglo children's courses, we use the reading a platform Mayan, and that has a built-in dictionary, which is interesting. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but Gabriela recommends picture dictionaries, and that's true. That's a great idea, Gabriela. What do you
A
think about picture
Pictionary,
dictionary?
absolutely, yeah, Pictionary, brilliant. Yes, yes, of course. As you
Uh,
can see, we were looking for, I think, for the word cat, and we saw the picture of a cat. So even these dictionaries have some pictures, but yes, a Pictionary might be the ideal thing for children. All right, so let's have a look at some of the answers here. So, yes, it doesn't have a grammar book, although it does have grammar boxes. So, for example, if you look for a grammatical word like either, you look it up, oh, and you find some grammar tips or some grammatical information about the word that you're looking up. Again, verb patterns in bold, like Cambridge. In the case of verb forms, oh, this one does give you the verb forms for irregular verbs, but not for regular verbs either. And it does give you the pronunciation, not like Cambridge. So it does give you the pronunciation, but only in symbols, no syllables. But it's like the other way around, right? So Cambridge gives you syllable division, no etymology. This one doesn't give you syllables, but it does give you etymology. So you can see how different dictionaries will give you different things. All right, very good. Now, let's do a bit more of a practical activity. So, as we said, we have Longman. Again, I'm just going to share the link in the chat, just to make sure that you have it there. Also, there's this Oxford Learners Dictionary that I'm sharing in the chat, right? There you go. So let's have a look, as I said, at some practical information that you can find here in a dictionary. So let's see. sometimes we need to find a preposition that goes with a specific verb or a specific noun. So, for example, there was a lot of focus gap exam results at my school. So, which is a preposition that I need? How do I find it? So imagine I want to find the preposition I need here. What's the word I need to look up for? Probably focus, right? The one that's just before. So focus. So do we say focus in? Do we say focus for something? Do we say focus on something? What's a preposition that goes with focus? Same thing with spend, right? More money should be spent in education. So is it spent over education, in education, on education? Well, if I don't know that, well, I can just look it up in the dictionary. Let's see if you find them. All right. So use any of the three links that I've shared or the dictionary of your choice, and feel free to share your answers in the chat. Okay.
We've got some answers already.
All
These
right.
guys work fast.
Yeah.
Gerardo and Cecil, Moni, they all say number one is on.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriela says number two is in, and I think Gerardo said it number two is on. So a little controversy there.
Right.
Okay. We've got some other answers. Like for number three is in, and Gerardo also agrees with in. We've got some people, lots of people typing in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Number four, some people are saying it's on.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody agrees that it's on. And number five, we've got here two. Several people saying two. Cecil agrees it's two. Monica says number five is two. How did we do, Mario?
Well, remember, sometimes we remember, sometimes we don't. If we don't remember, we just look it up in the dictionary and then we know for sure. So those are the answers.
But that's a great strategy, I think, Mario. Look up that the word there, focus or spent or
Mm-hmm.
invest, and we'll see that collocation depending on the dictionary that we choose.
Exactly. In this case, those are prepositions, but maybe we're looking for verb patterns. So she admitted, and we don't know how to use make. So what do we say? Do we say she admitted? She admitted to make a mistake. She admitted making a mistake. She admitted. You see what I mean? Like how? What's the form that we need? We recommend something with book early. So we recommend to book early. Is that what we say? We recommend booking early. Same with promise, right? Mm-hmm.
Monica says number one is making, number two is to book, and number three is doing.
All right. So we have some answers already. Now remember, you can just look it up in the dictionary, right? As we saw.
Gabriela says number one is making, to book, number three is to do, then four is going. Monica agrees with Gabriela. Arcelia also agrees. Rafa also agrees.
Okay, so let's see. So there you go. She admitted making a mistake. Yes, so you were right. I would recommend booking. So yes, the answers are there. Again, these are answers just straight from the dictionary, right? Okay, now, one thing that learners have problems with, particularly, well, in English, understandably, is pronunciation, right? So we have some words like those. In my experience teaching English, I've noticed that learners normally have problems with those words. Not only with those words, but these words seem to be particularly problematic. So if you have problems with any of those words, look it up in the dictionary, click on the icon so you can hear the pronunciation, repeat after the dictionary. If you find any of those words challenging, why don't you type it in the chat? Or you could even copy the phonemic, well, you know, the symbols, the phonemic symbols, and paste them in the chat. So we can have a look at it together.
I agree with you, Mario, with your choice of words here. Number one, number two, for sure. And all of them, really, all of them. Okay, Arcelia put the phonemic symbols in there. Gabriela kind of typed them out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah, no worries, Gabriela, no worries. Take a look at how Arcelia did it and see if you can find that in the dictionary, yeah?
So we can see that, well, we notice that dictionaries give us information about different dialects, for example, British and American English. So you may have found pronunciation like this. Now, depending on whether it was British or American, there may be some differences. But remember, this little symbol that you find here, that little stroke, it's telling us that the next syllable is a one with a stress, right? So temperature. Now, of course, that in American English, it'd be slightly different, but this is how the dictionary gives you that information. So some people find it easier to just listen to it, but some people find it easier if they can actually see, oh, this is the syllable that we're stressing. So is it, you know, by looking at it, by listening to it, or by looking at it? What do you find easier? Well, dictionaries should give you both, right? Same thing with comfortable, right? Stress on the first syllable, comfortable. Now you can see you can see that the last syllable is just kiss. Focus, focus. Then if you listen to this word, you'll see it's not word, it's word. Whereas talk is that sound, oh, talk. And look at how strange, right? Women, E, E. That's crazy, right? You'd never guess from the spelling. We mean crazy. So there you go. The dictionary gives you help with that. Now, you may have some questions for us.
Great. I have to share a comment with you, Mario. Gabriela says, the phonetic alphabet is so beautiful. I
I agree.
she's a fan. Okay. Gabriela, can you elaborate a little bit more on your comment about the word garbage? Let us know. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure how to interpret that comment.
Well, garbage, for example, is more common in American English, isn't it? And a good learner's dictionary should tell you that. Maybe it even tells you, all right, so in American, it's normally garbage. In British, it's normally rubbish. So that'd be something interesting to look for, right? Does my dictionary tell me about those? Does it give me both, right? That'd be good.
That's a great point. Rafa says he begs you for your top pick. If you had to pick one dictionary that you could only use for the rest of your life, Mario, what one would you choose?
That's an interesting question. So let me show it to you and let me share the link with you, right? Now, of course, yeah, that's a tricky question because, well, there are so many dictionaries, right? I mean, that's the point in doing this, that we become aware that we're not going to find everything on one dictionary, on one website. That's why we use them all. But the one that I use more frequently is probably this one here. I just shared it in the chat, and let me share the screen, right? So why do I like this dictionary? Because if you look for something, the first definition that you find is like not for learners. This is not a learner's dictionary. This is more of a, let's say, normal dictionary or dictionary for native speakers. But if you continue scrolling down the dictionary, then you find this is the one. Okay, so this is British English. You continue scrolling down, and then you find again American English. So you just need to continue scrolling down to have access to Learner's Dictionary, British, American English. So you find everything on the same page just by scrolling down. So this is probably the one that I use the most.
Excellent, great, 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 great. Karen wants you to repeat the pronunciation of the word word. Now I'm from the US, so I'm going to say word and
exactly
focus. But how would you say it, Mario?
Right. So the thing here is that it's even though in the spelling we have an O, this is nothing like an O or an O sound, right? So to produce this sound, the lips are relaxed. You don't really move the lips, and you don't really move the tongue. Now, that's tricky because in Spanish we have 3 front vowels. That means we move the tongue to the front of the mouth when we say a, e, and we have 2 back vowels. That means the tongue goes back when we say o and u. But we don't have central vowels like English. This is a central vowel, so we don't move the tongue to the front, we don't move it to the back. Tongue relaxed, we just open the mouth and we say like word, word, bird, right? So that's the sound. And in American English, it's probably very much the same vowel, just with the right? Word. Well, Emily can model it for us. But yeah, that's basically it.